Hey everyone, welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks. I am going to talk about that brutal beating that a Chicago mother and her son got from a group of school-aged children. Not teenagers, not college kids, but underage children. I'm going to read part of an article first before I get into my opinion. It's from WGNTV.com and it's written by quite a few people. I'm going to put it in my description box. I'm going to try not to read too much, but the title is Community Outraged After Viral Video Shows Mom, Children Being Jumped by Students Outside South Deering School. And this article is written by, and sorry if I butcher the names, Gabriel Costello, Winnie Dortch, Michael Johnson, Angelica Sanchez, Ashlyn Wright, and Dana Rebick. I want to make sure everybody gets their credit. So it says here, I'm going to jump down to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, and I got some words about him, and Chicago Public Schools have responded to the attack, which sent 33-year-old Chicago mom Krishanda Hatter and her 9-year-old son to Trinity Hospital in serious condition. The mayor called the incident absolutely gut-wrenching and appalling. You think? CPS, meanwhile, has not released any details of consequences the students involved in the attack may face, but says it's working with city departments and agencies to provide support to Hatter and her children. Y'all not gonna like what I'm about to say. But as a woman who grew up in a predominantly white community and then eventually moved to a predominantly black community, you're looking at the 80s, early 80s. It was a different world. My brothers and I had never experienced the type of terror from anybody, not those white kids that we grew up around. And we grew up, I would say, in the racist white community. But black people, I noticed this back in the early 80s, as I said, have a level of anger that just surpasses anything you've ever experienced, especially if you didn't grow up in that environment. And black people have a serious problem when people call us out for our foolishness. So it's going to be some people, depending on how many eyes are on this video, it's going to be some people that's going to come for me. They're not going to go for those children or the parents of those children that attacked that woman and her kids, and allegedly she's pregnant. They're going to be more upset with me for calling it out and calling black people animals. I remember a few years ago, and not all black people, obviously. And if you're triggered by that term, then maybe look within. I'm not taking it back. I was online years ago, and I can't remember the situation now, but I referred to the people involved as animals. And this black lady, she took offense, went off on me. You don't call human beings animals and this, that, and the other. And I was like, I don't remember what I said to her, but I was like, if you're that triggered, then maybe I'm talking about you. You know, it's like when I used to watch Tommy Sotomayor, for example, years ago when he was still on YouTube. And y'all know how he can get when he's talking about black women. So y'all know what I used to do? Not all black women. But then one day I had to pull back and I was like, wait a minute, he's not talking about me. So why should I have to say not all black women? Obviously, he's not talking about all black women, just like I'm not talking about all black people. But we have a certain segment of people within our community who can't be told nothing, who can't be held accountable. And what happens? They get worse. Anybody with a pea brain knows when you don't hold people accountable, they get worse. And allegedly, this woman's son was going through a bullying incident for 2 years, and the school allegedly was doing nothing. Now, the parents of the children who jumped those people need to be held accountable. The children need to be held accountable. The teachers, the principals need to be held accountable. And anybody else that was aware of the bullying situation going on needs to be held accountable. Anti-bullying campaigns that they, try to put in the schools, they're a whole joke. Because from what I've noticed from being in school and even being at work, bullies always have a posse around them. And the teachers know who's being bullied. They know, because a lot of times that bully is right up in that teacher's behind, keying it up. And the teacher don't want to touch that person. I'm not talking physically, but teacher's pet can do no wrong. So I feel for that little boy that was being bullied. But see, here's the thing. 10, 15 years down the road, when those little ruffians are adults and being manhandled by the police, you're going to have some ignorance in our community. Oh, they didn't do nothing. Leave them alone. You reap what you sow. And for the ones of you who don't know about reaping what you sow, okay, karma. It's another name for it. What you put out, you get back. And my mother used to tell my brothers and I, if you do somebody dirty, first of all, my brothers and I would have never, and I mean never, have done something like this, ever. But one thing that my mother drilled into us as when we were kids growing up was, if you do somebody wrong, it's going to come back on you tenfold. It's not going to feel good when it comes back to you. So going back to us as a community and our anger, we have an anger problem. And one thing that people in our community don't want to try to touch on, I'm willing to bet all of those kids who jumped that woman, not near one of them have a dad in the house, not a dad of substance. Their parents are probably co-parenting, and the trifling mothers that raised them and are half raising them, she's living with a man who's not the father of however many children. The whole thing is just out of order. Out of order, toxic. And when people call out the Black community, as I said earlier, Black people, you got a segment of knuckleheaded clowns, the 92%, the 78%, who get mad at you for calling it out. You're not perfect. You got demons or this, that, and the other. Well, when I was a child and when I was an adult, I would have never jumped anybody. I ain't never been in a fight in my life. There were girls who wanted to fight me because they were jealous. Point blank, period. Because I've never been Broomquisha from the hood. I've never been that girl. So I always carried myself with decorum. And I know that if you've lived around Black people your whole life, 10 times out of 10, you will never see what people who did not grow up around Black people see. We are extremely angry. And even the ones that can smile at you, you can still see some of that anger bubbling below the surface. One reason why these children are so angry, they probably have an overworked, angry single mother that's trying to be the mom and the dad. I'm the daddy too. So when us pick-me's and other women get on these platforms and say why having a dad in the house is important, this is but one reason why. And that's not to say if you have a dad in the home, there won't be problems. But for a lot of people, your self-esteem is wrapped up in it, your sense of security. A whole lot of things goes into having a mother and a father in the house with you during your formative years, raising you. And get triggered. The kids that jumped that woman and her son and their parents are trash with a capital T. I said what I said, pure trash. And then as for Brandon Johnson, he's a heap of garbage too. Because a couple of years ago, was it, when those kids were taking over downtown Chicago, and he was like, don't demonize them. Let them be kids. They're just children. And I was thinking to myself, this man is an idiot. Doesn't he know? And he was a teacher or something, wasn't he? So that's proof that just because you're a teacher doesn't mean that you have sense. Because as I said, I used to always have mad respect for teachers. I did. But I've seen too much favoritism from these teachers towards bullies. So going back to that Brandon Johnson, I was thinking even then, doesn't this cretin know when you do not hold people accountable, they get worse? And I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I said white men are going to eventually put their foot down and start cleaning up the foolishness that the black leaders of the black community should be doing. Black leaders won't touch this. You got Michelle Obama, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, Jamal Bryant, all of those pea brains who will not call out this type of behavior in the black community. But they're busy telling the black community that we're victims. Wasn't this black woman a victim of other black people? Y'all don't never want to call that out, ever. Our community is in trouble, and it's not going to change until we recognize it and get from behind this I'm a victim rhetoric that's destroying us. We are better than this. We are much better than this. But as long as we have black leaders, oh, woe is me. You got a millionaire, Michelle Obama, going on her platform talking like she's Broom Creature from the hood living on Section 8. What kind of foolishness is that? So I just wanted to address that. I think this is sad. It's pitiful. And it's not going to get better because we got too many black people in our community who will turn a blind eye to this, but they'll be ready to have all kinds of words for me for even bringing it up. So that was my topic for today, and I'll talk to you later.